Hello, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the TheRumpledOne, Tuesday, May 28th, the year 2013. Fires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, drought. The U.S. is getting kicked in the you-know-where once again. And yet, the media still wants to make preppers out to be crazy lunatics. What is up with that? I mean, we can see the shortages. I was reading about the Colorado River and how it's being drained, literally drained. In Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, San Diego. These people are going to be in a world of hurt if that river goes down. And in Texas, there's a big aquifer. In Oklahoma, and that's being drained. And that's water that would take thousands of years to replenish. But, of course, we're crazy because we store water in 5-gallon jugs or 55-gallon barrels, or in my case, a $2,500 water tank out back. But we're crazy because we're preppers. I was just reading that I guess there's some people in the know, rich people in California are all evacuating the area because of the earthquakes that have been happening recently. Had one off the Oregon coast last week. I think it was a 4.7. And then there was a 5-point-something down in California last week too. The ground was shaking. But once again, most people, they think tomorrow is going to be just like today, that they'll be able to go to the grocery store, go to the gas station to fill up their tank, walk home, flip on the light switch and the lights come on, and turn on the TV and watch their shows. Might not happen tomorrow. That's why you have to be prepared. And other people think that the government's going to rescue them, that FEMA's going to come in and save the day. Well, I'll tell you firsthand, I was trained, CERT training. I went to also the basic disaster life support, and they tell us usually within the first hour of the class, you're on your own. And even when supplies come in, who do you think is going to get the supplies first? Well, the people working for the government. FEMA, your fire patrol, your police, National Guard, they're going to get fed first. They're going to eat. And that's what, since they're there helping, they're going to make sure their families get taken care of. And then after all that's distributed, if there's anything left over, then you will be fighting me for the FEMA scraps. Well, you won't be fighting me because I ain't going anywhere near that place. But my point is that what's it going to take to get the average American to wise up and go, maybe I should store some food and water. Maybe I should make some preparations that I might have to leave, and I should be able to get everything in the trunk of the car, the back of the pickup, so I can maybe last for a week or two. And if things settle down, I can come back. But look at those poor people in a tornado, just devastated. What have they got to come back to? And that's one of the reasons why they say you don't put all your preps in one basket. Maybe you have some with your relatives stored 200 miles away or something, or a friend. Just something to think about. I mean, here where I am, if something happens up north, the Bonneville power plant, I'm going to be without power. And I've talked to the local power company, and they're saying 6 months to a year, if ever. I mean, they talked about the Colorado River, and it's falling. If it gets below a certain point, those turbines quit spinning. And if that happens, the lights go out in Vegas and Phoenix and Tucson, the whole Southwest. I mean, it's things you have to think about. You know, maybe it won't happen while we're alive, but I don't know. Maybe there's some teenager or somebody in their 20s watching this video who maybe 40, 50 years from now might be around and the lights go out. Because this isn't something that's going to change anytime soon. This isn't really a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's one of the reasons why I left Tucson. I mean, look what we've done to the desert. We basically turned it into an oasis. In California, growing food, literally out in the desert. California's a huge breadbasket to this country. Those farmers can't grow, going to be in a hurt. And you see, and there's some cities that have ordinances against you growing fruit trees or vegetables in your front yard. No, it has to be some manicured lawn. It's like, no, why have lawns when you can have a garden where you can eat? They don't like that. But see, there's some people that are smart and they're fighting City Hall, and hopefully they'll win. You know, man's home is his castle. I guess they put an asterisk, some exceptions apply. But to me, that's just wrong. Telling somebody that owns a piece of property that you can't have a flower or a vegetable garden in your front yard, you have to have some manicured lawn or some desert landscape. I mean, really? These homeowners associations. I mean, those guys, you talk about draconian, you buy a house and you get this notebook that thick full of the CCRs. It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Why do we put up with that nonsense? I guess maybe this turned into a rant. It really didn't start out that way, but that wasn't my intent. But the point is that there's just so much going on out there, so many disasters that are hitting our country, and people are suffering, and yet the government wants to make, well, actually not the government, but the media makes fun of us preppers. But the government, they label us as terrorists. I mean, I know you've seen the list that if you store food, you could be considered a terrorist. If you, it's just ridiculous. If you use cash at the store, you could be considered a terrorist. When did cash become a bad thing? Conducting business using cash. When? Really? Terrorist? Really? Seriously? Department of Justice? Department of Homeland Security? FBI? That's a joke. That's a joke. But the point is that it's up to you to do what you need to protect you and yours in the event of a disaster. Because it could happen. I mean, there could be an earthquake today. It could be a fire, flood, tornado, hurricane, somewhere, drought. So don't be swayed by the media or the general public opinion. I think I talked about that in Influence. You have to use your own mind and decide what's right for you and what works for you. And most of all, my fellow Americans need to wake up, smell the tyranny.